Hello traders, this is Rich from Tradesight. Wanted to take a few moments here and take a look at the current construction of the NASDAQ futures, the NQ futures. Right now the Tradesight Seeker study is very close to a high probability reversal warning. I just wanted to show you the current construction, walk you through the setup and exhaustion phase of the Seeker study, and show you how it's very, very close to giving us a high probability reversal warning that will affect the markets once it's put into place and reverse trend to the downside. First, let's take a quick look at the daily construction of the Dow Industrials. The Dow 30 right now has a 13 exhaustion warning in place that has pivoted the market to the downside. We had our 1 through 9 setup phase complete, and then we had the 1 through 13 countdown phase complete without having to go to the countdown qualifier. I'll explain that in a moment. So what we have now is we do have a high probability exhaustion warning in place for the Dow. It's actually the second one here in this run. You can also see we got one here earlier this year. This one just completed late April and preceded this move to the downside. Now we've got even more extension to the upside, and we've got a 13 exhaustion in place for the Dow Industrials. Now let's turn our attention now to the NQ futures and see what the construction looks like on that chart. Now here's the current NQ futures. You can see, like the Dow, we've got our 1 through 9 setup phase in place, and then we've got 1 through 12 but not 13 in the countdown phase. So we're only one candle away from printing that 13 to the upside. That would be our high probability exhaustion warning to the downside. Now remember, with the 1 through 13 countdown phase, the candles don't have to be consecutive, so we don't have to have it today or tomorrow, but all we have to do is meet our two-bar look back criteria, and then we will meet and satisfy the requirement to print that 13 exhaustion. So it doesn't have to be today or tomorrow. It could be a few days down the road, but the important part is that I just want to point your attention to where we are with the construction and a couple important features. And one of the important features of the Seeker study is that we have a countdown qualifier. What that is that it looks back and uses candle number 8, that's under the yellow arrow here, as a reference point when we get to the 13. So here's our countdown phase again, but this time I've added a trend line here representing the closing price at candle number 8. That is 3001 on the NQ futures. Now the key consideration here is that we are 12 bars to the upside in the countdown phase, but we're below the 3001 level, which represented the close of candle 8. So while we did meet the criteria in the look back to print candle 13 for the exhaustion warning, we didn't get it now using the countdown qualifier. What this does is it makes sure that if a retest of the high begins and we have not yet reached candle 13, we want to make sure that we have extension above the close of candle number 8. So in this instance, it would be from the settlement of candle number 8 for the NQ futures. So you can see that as of Friday, we settle below that, and there's a little asterisk here above that candle. So instead of printing a 13, it prints an asterisk because we have not satisfied that countdown qualifier and not settled above the close of candle number 8. So when we do so, we will get our exhaustion warning, and that high probability reversal will be in play. When we do so, that's when you have to shift gears as a trader and overlook the short-term positive bias that the market has and the renewed positive sentiment after this little decline was reversed back to the upside. And just remember that this is a retest of the high. This is kind of a B wave test, if you will. This is your A wave to the downside. The B wave retest of the high in this instance is going to have a high probability exhaustion warning based on time and price. So that's definitely something that you want to use to your advantage going forward as a trader. So be on guard for that. If we get that settlement above 3001 in the NQ futures, we're going to get that high probability objective reversal warning, and make sure you're trading on the proper side of the tape when that happens. As always, thanks for listening. This has been Rich for Tradesight.